Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Halloween episode of Pod Stallions. I am Dr. Brian, and with me, as always, to my left is manservant Jason Lindsay.
Good evening.
How you doing, man?
I thought you were going to give me a professor, like Dr. Heiler and Professor Lindsay.
No, that's not the way the dynamics work in those movies.
Mr. Well, clearly, I completely misunderstood the dynamic altogether. Well, here we are on the eve of Hallows Eve.
Well, technically, this will land on Halloween, and we could pretend that it's Monday.
We could, if we were that organized.
Yeah.
We could pretend it's live, that it's a live, and we're watching everyone in their homes.
It's a live call-in show, and we give them the phone number of someone we don't like.
That's right. So we did we always do 2 episodes in October. As you've known, our show, from the first episode back in 1972, we've always done 2 episodes in October. And, we thought, why stop? Because it's our favorite month. And
I believe 1972, we did the Flip Wilson episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
Flip Wilson, Marjo Gortner Variety Hour episode. Mm-hmm. And so we thought it'd be fun to do like 2 bookends, the Munsters and the Addams Family, because it seems like, I always talk about how as a kid, I saw the Addams Family and the Munsters back to back on weekday afternoons. And a lot of people have said that. It seems like that was fairly common in the U.S. that.
Oh yeah, that just seems to work perfect. It's an hour of the same show basically.
Yeah, and in sort of stirring this around, I was trying to think, as we always do with these shows, what was the first exposure? And I was trying to think if the song was in my life before the show was, because I had 2 older brothers, and it would have been the kind of thing that they would have been snapping.
Yeah, that song's an earworm. Isn't that Vic Mizzy who did that?
Is it Vic Mizzy? Yeah, I think you're right.
So. Yeah.
And I can't remember. Or I was also thinking about the cartoon. Now, we're going to usually do these things in chronological order, but we're talking about where our memories start. If I'm not mistaken, there was a cartoon in the 70s for the Addams Family.
Yeah, the Hanna-Barbera show, and it's
Barbera show, kind of reminiscent of the Addams drawings, but didn't they show up in a Scooby-Doo? They showed up guesting.
I think so, yeah. And the big thing is Jodie Foster was Wednesday on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but what year was that?
It predates me. 73. So I was alive, but not really watching the show.
Yeah, I just wonder if it was the kind of thing that I would have seen in the Scooby-Doo, because they ran those in the afternoons too, I think. The celebrity ones,
yeah, that could be, yeah.
I can't remember specifically what the first memory was, but just one of those things. I love both shows.
Yeah.
I watch every day, but I think kind of like with a lot of things, you're either, Beatles or Stones or Beatles or Elvis or Star Trek or whatever. I think you're either more of a fan of the Munsters or more of a fan of the Addams Family, and both are equally valid. But I always leaned more Addams Family. There's something about it that always appealed to me more, much as I dug the Munsters. The Addams Family had this. It's much racier. It's much.
Yeah, it's the Munsters is a broad comedy, and the Addams Family is much more of a subversive thing.
Yes, it's very subversive, and it's something that I think, because we'll talk about all these incarnations, I think it's something that all of these incarnations got pretty right. They're very quality, but they all try to go to, because they're sex fiends. Morticia and Gomez are freaky sex fiends with handcuffs and leather, and she speaks French and he goes mad.
They really were one of the first TV couples to really be that kind of affectionate on television. Do you know what I mean? I like
Yeah.
aside from soap operas, which that's what they deal in, that kind of thing really didn't happen a lot on sitcoms.
Yeah, and I think that's how they got away with it, because they
Yeah.
were so extreme. But he was kissing her every episode. He was doing that,
Yeah.
kissing up her arm, or she speaks French and he suddenly goes
Yeah.
crazy. Like being turned on, like they turned each other on. It's the kissing. You're right. That absolutely we didn't see much of, but the fact that he was so turned on by what she was doing, it was like you just didn't see that in shows. And so the show arrives in, well, it starts with the comic itself, like the Charles Addams
Yeah.
comic. But that was not something that I ever was really
Mm.
privy to
No,
prior to the show itself.
I've heard about that way after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like my memory of it, I tried to think about it because obviously as a kid a lot of things you just know of and you don't know why.
Yeah.
But the earliest thing I can think of is that my mom and sister used to do the play cousin it thing where my sister would put her hair over her face, put on sunglasses, and I think my mom really thought Cousin It was really hilarious because she mentioned him a lot, and that was kind of like my association with, like, I don't gotta see what this Addams Family is about.
Oh.
And I honestly can remember being somewhere where they got Channel 29, the aerial could point on the right day, and watching the start of the Addams Family.
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably like 4, and I just remember going like, okay, I have questions. Are they monsters? Like, I couldn't quite get the subtlety, like the Munsters you get in just looking at them.
Yes,
But
exactly.
the Addams Family was like, what are they? Even though the song tries to explain them, it is just like, for me as a kid, I needed to know where is this coming from.
That makes total sense. It's
Yeah.
like everything is monster. We all, the staples, the archetypes and everything. I didn't quite get what it was at first either, because it was like, do they do supernatural? Is she a witch?
Yeah.
Is he like
is he a vampire? What is he?
Like, what is that? What the,
Yeah.
And
you want to put them into roles.
Yeah, it took a while to realize there's a magical and like a supernatural sort of element that comes into it sometimes, in little ways, or potions or things or whatever. But for the most part, they're freaky. They're just like, it's like it fell right into that, the beatnik hipster kind of subversion. Everybody wearing black and black turtlenecks. And who was the guy that who was the character that Bob Denver played on Dobie Gillis?
Oh, Maynard G. Krebs.
Maynard G. Krebs.
I call my son Maynard G. Krebs whenever he doesn't shave, because he gets like this. Maybe it's just jealousy that he can grow this, huge beard really quickly. But I'll always call him, time for a shave, Maynard G. Krebs, and boy, I barely know what that means.
All the kids in the neighborhood must think you're the coolest dad, because you're throwing Dobie Gillis shit around. Wow.
My octogenarian neighbor thinks I'm the best.
Maynard G. Krebs.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just funny to me,
Yes, no, I get it. I totally get it. But it's, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's in that sort of mold of, like, I mean, just the opening of the show, them looking right down the lens and looking cool as shit, and then just flipping the hands up and doing the snap. Like, that's cool, It had a hit factor that the Munsters didn't have. The Munsters was a different kind of bag. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And there's a really good Amazing Colossal podcast. I listened to it a couple weeks ago with John Aston. And it's in, like, I was never aware of the cartoons. But now I completely understand the show from looking at those cartoons. You're like, oh yeah, they just kind of built a universe around these sinister looking people.
It's like it's in the Edward Gorey kind of vein. Remember Edward Gorey? Remember
Yeah.
the Gashly Crumb Tinies, that alphabet
Yeah.
book that each letter is, A is for Adam, eaten by wolves, B is for, just that darkness, that sort of the macabre, like the dark humor, the black humor that strip was, which again, like you, I didn't know until much later.
Yeah.
That sort of throughout the show. I mean, it's surprisingly violent, and a different kind of violence than the Munsters. Like, they kind of dig the violence. Like, he gets off on it, kind of like he likes pain, and
I really think that there's, I think that show really was made possible by John Astin.
Oh, you mean he wouldn't have happened?
His performance is so, like, he's really his Gomez is a weird dude.
Oh yeah.
Like, it just from stem to stern.
Oh my God.
There's nothing right about that guy.
He's also, it's very much, well, say, old man, come on in. It's got this sort of, as if he's in a men's club, in England at the turn of the century. He, like, a lot of his lingo was very much like old gentleman's club kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I couldn't get that either. Like, where's this from?
And he thinks he's normal.
And he thinks he's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Excited by the worst things, and I don't remember them being so turned off by. I think the movies did more of a job of it, and the subsequent things, but I don't remember them being really turned off by the normals, like normal-looking people.
No, they didn't think any. They were just being themselves. They were just being themselves.
Yeah. And Wednesday always having that sort of antagonistic relationship with her brother. Ted Cassidy, of course, Lurch.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't. I mean, again, this timeline thing. It's like, did I see him first as Lurch? Did I see him first in that Star Trek episode?
I think I saw him first in that Planet Earth, that Gene Roddenberry TV movie.
Oh wow! See, I don't think I even ever saw that.
Yeah, the reason I know is because I was probably like 7 or 8, probably like 6 or 7, and oh no, that would have made no sense. Anyways, but I knew that guy had Black Manta's voice.
Did he?
or Brainiac's voice. That was it. So I must have been like 7.
Did he do the voice of Brainiac in the Super?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
He did a bunch of cartoons. He's also Godzilla on the
bit of trivia. He, as most people that know about Flash Gordon or know the animated Filmation series, like you and I do, and what a big fan I am and stuff, the TV movie, what became the TV movie, that aired in '82, Ted Cassidy voices Thun in the TV movie.
And he passed right after that,
He passed right after he did that. And so the series, because the series starts with episode 2, really, as chapter 1, because they don't air that first 30 minutes on Saturday morning because it's got Nazis in it.
It's got Hitler in it.
But it's not him in the Saturday morning show. But what's weird is you've got 3 episodes, unless I'm getting this wrong. There's 3 episodes, if the TV movie is like 4 episodes total, 3 of those, are repeated in the Saturday morning show with a different voice of Thun.
Yeah, and that's Liquid Plumber guy doing.
I think it might be the guy that did Fred Flintstone later, the 70s Fred Flintstone. Am I wrong?
I think it's what's his name? The Butcher, Sam the Butcher.
Oh yeah, it is. You're right.
Yeah.
He's got that thick kind of cotton throat.
It's him doing a voice like this
all the time.
How did we get here?
Because we were trying to figure out who did what.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, Carolyn Monroe, as we mentioned in the show, I think our friend David Weiner might have mentioned too, was, turned on by both of them, by Lily and Morticia, but I was far more turned on by Lily than Morticia. Morticia seemed a little more. For some reason, she seems older than Gomez in the show. like he was into older women or something. I don't know.
See, I'm the opposite. I would be a Morticia fan. Nothing against Lily.
No, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna kick either of them out of the Dragula car.
Yeah. But I don't. Like Carolyn Jones looks great as
Carolyn
Morticia.
Jones. I said Carolyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Carolyn. Okay, I was like,
yeah.
where did we go?
Carolyn Monroe. That's a different episode altogether.
Yeah.
We could
That's
spend
the new Addams Family.
Yeah. My fantasy Addams Family.
Where you're Gomez.
Where I'm always Gomez, no matter what.
Yeah.
Everlasting Gomez.
I never really thought like she's naturally a blonde, and it's like,
is she?
Yeah, but it's like you should have been a brunette. Like I just find her that really suits her, that look.
What's the Elvis movie? Was it Kid Creole or was it Jailhouse Rock? She's in an Elvis movie, I think.
Yeah. She really didn't do, like, her career didn't do super great after the Addams Family. She found herself.
But aren't they all kind of? I mean, John Astin is just a one-off to begin with. Like we didn't get enough John Astin. We didn't get enough John Astin stuff throughout his lifetime, really. Like we've got Gomez, but like he'd get pilots and he'd show up, he'd guest star in things, but he just was kind of a force of nature. But it was funny how once they became, like, I feel like everybody in the 70s knew these shows. They were very prevalent in syndication. And then I think you started to get a lot more of the guest starring parts. That's when it, when Star Trek started to get big in syndication, Shatner would show up on more shows like Columbo and, Barnaby Jones or whatever. And that's when I started to see what she really looked like.
Yeah. That's basically what her career went down to after, was just she would be the guest of the week on something.
Okay.
And she passed very young. And this, one of the things a lot of people don't know is that she was actually married to what's his name? Aaron Spelling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and even though they divorced, because she supported him for a while, and even though they divorced, they remained close.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that explains why she shows up like on Aaron Spelling shows, obviously.
Right. So she passed, he remarried, and then had Tori Spelling.
Yes. Yeah. She's not Tori Spelling's mother.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it was so it started in 1964 and it ran 2 seasons? 3 seasons.
Oh, did it run? I thought the Munsters and the Addams Family both ran 2.
Okay, so 2 seasons, and I don't know it by heart or anything, but it was just a comfort, I mean, they both were, but I just knew early on that was the one that I was sort of drawn to. And it's also fun, again, with all the guest stars that show up in these things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like Jerry Van Dyke, I think, is in one of them, shows up in one of them, maybe. I don't know what he would have been doing in 1964, but I thought he was in an episode. But it was just so much fun as a kid.
He was like Jerry Van Dyke. I thought was the golden boy.
Was he?
Yeah, I was watching something recently about My Mother the Car, and he chose that over something that really went well, and it kind of wrecked his career.
Well, yeah, but you're saying he had a great career before My Mother the Car?
Well, I think he was like his momentum was growing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like he was the front runner for all this great stuff, and he was going places, and then blurp.
And then My Mother the Car.
Yeah.
So it's in syndication, and we're watching it all the time. And of course, we didn't get any kind of merchandise really in that from the show. There's stuff that came out when the show aired.
Yeah.
But then the cartoon comes on in the early 70s, the Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, 73. Yeah, they first appeared on the Scooby-Doo mysteries. I guess that's the way they backdoor or test stuff,
Okay.
And then they got the show approved, and they did, I think, 1 season on ABC.
Did he do? Was Gomez kind of like a Peter Lorre kind of thing? Did he do kind of a Peter Lorre voice in that cartoon?
You know what? I really don't remember ever watching it.
Because
Maybe clips, but it's never really been something I've sought out.
yeah, I don't think I might have seen a couple of episodes somewhere along the line, but I
Yeah.
remember the Scooby Doo one for sure.
One
Um,
one one thing I do really remember too is there was a reunion movie.
was this an hour long special? Oh, the one in
Uh,
'77.
yeah, the 77 in one. I
Oh, yeah.
remember watching that as a kid.
Okay, so the 70. So sorry, Bowie's acting crazy because every time I get on the phone, he has to get my attention. So now suddenly
Uh,
he play.
I know the routine.
Yeah, the cartoon, the next thing I would have seen would have been the Scooby Doo thing, but I
Right.
remember because we talked about this on an episode. I don't know what we were talking about, but I went and sought out. I found the '77 television special in color with
Yep.
Gomez's brother, who's like wooing Morticia,
Yeah,
and
yeah, which is like, yeah.
and they shot it and it aired I think October of '77, and there's 2 or 3 Star Wars jokes in it.
Yeah.
Like within 4 or 5 months, they're putting Star Wars
I
jokes.
never thought about that. I just
Yeah,
can't get over how terrible it is.
it's terrible. Now I think that the original Wednesday's in it, who's very grown up and attractive by '77.
Hmm.
I think they have 2 other kids. Like they had more kids or
Yeah,
something.
they have more kids, so you still have like younger. Yeah, that was an odd choice.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the original Pugsley in it too?
I think Ken Weatherwax was in it. Yeah,
Ken Weatherwax.
that's his name.
It's a fantastic name.
He had, according to John Aston, he had a really rough childhood because
He had what?
he had a rough childhood
Oh,
because he
oh
got
no.
like called Pugsley probably to this day.
Well,
And
yeah, you would.
yeah, you would.
I mean,
And
Weatherwax isn't much better, frankly.
it's like at least a country mile away from Pugsley.
No, but I don't know what he did after or beyond that. I never I never saw him in anything else. I don't think.
I think he works behind the scenes in films. The last time I
He
heard.
does. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, so it's '77, and there was a joke like a "May the Force be with you" joke, and let's get Mikey. He likes it. The Life cereal. There was a joke about Life cereal in there too.
That's some
Just
that's
as you
some good
do.
writing. It looks like a PBS, but like PBS made it.
Yeah.
And I actually watched it on PBS as a kid. So
But see, I remember
there's that.
seeing and going out for Halloween. I remember, I might be getting this timeline wrong, but there was very little Star Wars merchandise out by Halloween of '77. But I'm pretty sure Ben Cooper already had costumes, unless they repeated it the following year. But I remember standing in the den in my Darth Vader costume, snowsuit on, under the Darth Vader costume, the Ben Cooper costume, Vader mask, red gloves. I think my mom had like a pair of red wool gloves and a jacket and everything, and watching this Addams Family special on TV and thinking, what is this? Because it was in color, and
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out what it was. And then we went off and went trick or treating, and I missed the rest of it. But I probably hadn't seen it
You're
until
okay.
I found it on YouTube. Again, I hadn't seen it, but it was very, very familiar. And but was that like something that was going to be a series possibly, or just a one-off?
I don't think. I don't know. Maybe they were trying to test the series, but I mean, they had very little faith in it. They shot it on like cheap video,
Yeah,
and
it looks bad. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. There's nothing really about the origins of why that got made.
But wouldn't you
So
say that both? Because when was the Munsters one? When was the?
the
It was,
Munsters one was, I believe, in 1980 or 81.
so they've got to be thinking very much like the Gilligan's Island TV movies. Like these things are so big in syndication, let's do a special and get some ratings, basically.
I guess so. Yeah. I wonder where it aired. Yeah, it doesn't even say where and when it aired. Which is unusual. It did get a video release. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in the racks at like Kmart and stuff, and I just be like, yikes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I would have picked that up probably, because that would have been the only way to see it.
It was a Good Times video, so real quality. Yeah.
That and It's a Wonderful Life, and Laurel and Hardy's Way Out West. The Good Time videos that.
For a while there, Godzilla versus Megalon was
Dollar.
every dollar bin. Toho kind of reined that in.
So, did we get another live action series? I know we got one in syndication in the late 90s.
Yeah,
before
no, I don't think there was any sort of action since the 77 special.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe, I always probably think it has to do with whoever's got the rights.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because I was reading about the third, I'm using finger quotes, the third movie that after the two Sonnenfeld ones. And I think that rights went from Paramount to Saban or something.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
So the rights kind of floated around. But so you must have seen now here we go with what movies did you see when they came out part of the show. But did you see the Addams Family movies when they came out? The
yes.
very you did?
Yes.
Okay.
I was 20 and yeah, I went to the movies all the time. I'm gonna be controversial but I did not really dig the Sonnenfeld movies that much.
You wouldn't be you.
Yeah.
If you weren't controversial.
I don't like. They're not hateable. There's some good performances in there, but they just, I don't know. Something got lost in the mix for me. And the world's greatest cinematic travesty happened in that film, and that would be in the form of the MC Hammer Addams Family theme.
Yeah, but
which if anyone ever asked me, hey, what'd you think of 1991, I would just wheel in a TV and a VCR, and I would play that video and walk out.
But okay, now see that's where you and I differ, where it's like that song is beyond cringe, makes my skin crawl. The fact that this movie was, I mean, the second one's even better, I think. And
I actually kind of like the second one better.
They're really subversive. I mean, they take the stuff that's hinted at in the show and really crank it up.
Yeah.
And Raul Julia is freaking inspired in.
Yeah, it's it's a slightly different take on the character, but yeah, he does a great job.
Oh, he's fantastic, and Angelica Houston's perfect. Does it great. I was reading about Raul Julia, actually. He was very ill, even making the first one.
Yeah.
Having health issues. And I guess during the second one, it was pretty bad. Like he wasn't able to eat, and he was very fatigued. And people said, you could see how much thinner he was in the second film kind of thing. And he died a year after the second film. But they're really subversive. And, of course, Christina Ricci, her debut in the first one, and what happened to the kid. And Christopher Lloyd is fantastic in both of those. Like
I was surprised at that one.
Swinging for the fences. The first one's kind of finding its way, but it's definitely, what you come away with all of these is, but certainly more so, I think, in the movies and the other bits of things we've gotten since, is how very much like the Munsters, that when you get them near, normal looking people, or what you consider normal looking, or, white picket fence kind of families, that they're more freakish than the Addams Family is. And that the Addams Family and the Munsters are really a very loving, caring family for each other.
Yeah. That definitely shines through. Yeah, just something about it. I don't know if I just found the first one a little too madcap or over the top. I can't really say there's anything, in particular that I didn't like about it, but it didn't work for me.
What did you think the second? Did you like the second one with the baby, the new
Yeah,
baby?
I think well, first of all, I have to give props to thinking up the name Pubert for a new Addams Family member, which was like that's pretty damn good. Um, and yeah, I always like Joan Cusack. I mean, its plot, part of its plot is pretty much that stock in trade plot of every one of those 90s let's revive a TV series where they get swindled. But
But it was very much like the show. I mean,
yeah,
that's what characters came in to some certain episodes to try to do, is take advantage of these, people that don't know better. They're oblivious. And that was a fun bit too, that the Munsters never was, unless I missed it, that Lily was, had a fortune she was sitting on or something. But the Addamses were loaded, and they were constantly getting swindled, or people they thought they were either insane and they would part with their money, etc. So it emulated the show, in a way. The second one takes it much further with the subversion and with them trying to provoke the straights, so to speak.
yeah, yeah.
Which I think is much funny. Like when they send her off to camp.
The camp
Uh,
is really good.
but I think even in the first one, when it's theater, I mean, it's really subversive. Like, it's really dark, and that's one of the reasons I like both movies, is that they take the foundation and they do turn it up, but it's to like ridiculous degrees. But when Pugsley and Wednesday do their theater thing in the arts class or whatever, they're stabbing each other with blood packets, squirting out, and then the entire front row gets hit with blood, fake blood. Like,
Mhm.
it really pushes it far. And the stuff with the baby in the second one, how much danger the baby's in, falling out of windows and crawling into a makeshift guillotine and stuff. It's really dark stuff. I mean, I don't know how far a quote family PG-13 movie would push that stuff today. Like, I don't know if that stuff would make it into the movie, so to speak. But I was surprised because I hadn't seen them in a long time, and I rewatched them a little while ago. And the first one the first one you really have to focus on the performances, because it's a little slapdash. But the second one, and oddly enough, the first one did much better than the second one. The second
Yeah,
one did very well, but the first one was huge.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And I yeah, like I said, I preferred the second one. It
and I
had
think when the first one came out, we got a breakfast cereal.
yeah, that's correct. Got a breakfast cereal with little flashlights.
Yeah, the good
Yeah,
old days.
yeah.
The good old
And
days
I
when you had.
bought a couple of those on one of my first trips by myself to the United States,
See,
and I would put them on my toy show table everywhere I went because no one wanted them.
they had.
Um,
There was a Cousin It, and there was a Lurch, and there was a thing, like just
mhm,
which is a weird flashlight of just a hand. But
yeah.
that was it. There were no toys. There was no real merchandise.
No, well, the next year would see it because they would launch that animated show. Hanna-Barbera would go back to it in '92.
So 92 got a line of toys or action figures from Playmates, I think, right? Didn't they do that?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean you had John Aston as Gomez again,
Oh, okay. See, I forgot. I
and
totally forgot
and
that.
Rip Taylor as Uncle Fester. Now
Oh,
that is
that's
inspired.
genius.
Yeah,
That's see,
I
but it's weird because that went back to the traditional way. It wasn't even traditional. It wasn't the movie. They didn't look like they did in the movie.
no, they were kind of a little bit of a twist on the Addams cartoon look from the actual like I think Hanna-Barbera just kind of revamped their original character
The
designs.
original characters, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird, which is kind of like Beetlejuice, coming out in '88, not getting toys. Then Kenner does a toy line in 1990 based on the movie, right when an
Hmm.
animated series debuts, where everybody looks totally different. was kind of like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that stuff happens a lot. I think people are willing to bank on something that's going to be on at least once a week for, a year, as opposed to something that, could come and go in the box office.
Right.
Although I would argue that you would think there would be Addams Family 2 toys, but
Yeah, but that's just it.
uh,
That
but
comes out, you got nothing for that either.
yeah, well, maybe the Playmates figures didn't sell well. Who knows?
So that comes out in 93.
92, yeah.
92, Addams Family. So the TV series is on in 92. Addams Family Values in 92.
Yeah.
And that does really well, but Raul Julia dies a year later. And then I think what they did was they were talking about doing another theatrical, but then they sort of abandoned it, like Paramount or whoever it was. And then I want to say Saban, someone like that, got the rights, and they wanted to make this third film. And I guess they approached most of the rest of the cast, and everyone said no because it felt like it was disrespectful to Raul Julia or something. But I think Lurch was in it. I think the guy who played Carl Stroiken
Whatever happened to that guy? I just saw him in something.
I think he's still alive. I mean,
Really?
he showed up in Twin Peaks: The Return. He had a
Oh, okay. I know he was a bright guy and he was really into computer stuff. Back in the day, I think he was a virtual reality enthusiast. So it's not surprising you don't see him anymore. He might be doing something like that.
Yeah, the first thing I think he was in was Twin Peaks, which led to being cast as Lurch in the first film.
You see him in the Star Trek. I think you're right. That was his.
Oh, was he in Next Generation?
He's in Next Generation. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
See,
he pops up in things. There's no mistaking him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
So that ended up being I forget what that one was called, but they made it and it became direct to video. I think it was prior to DVD. So it was like direct to VHS, and it was Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Gomez and Daryl Hannah was the.
I'm trying like fun to find it because I've never seen it. I've seen reviews of it, and I think it wasn't really well liked, but I can't remember.
It's someone like Daryl Hannah. Let's just say that. I've never seen it, but I love Tim Curry, so I really should have seen it by now. There's no excuse. But that went direct to VHS.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where that is. Just can't seem to figure out the information. I usually have this on hand.
Well, I think it was like Addams Family Therapy or Addams Family something. Addams Family,
yeah, okay.
Rehab. Addams Family Rehab. I think is what it was. Reunion. It might be Reunion.
Oh.
Addams Family Reunion.
Oh, you're right. And okay, wow, this is interesting. It was Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tim Curry.
I
think Lurch was the same from the movies.
He was and the hand. Apparently, the thing is the same.
Okay. Yeah. It's hard to get a good hand actor these days.
It can't seem to find Fester, if there's a Fester in this.
Oh yeah, who played Fester?
It's not listed. That's so weird. Oh, it must be. I have no idea.
You got
Alice Ghostly was in it though.
Who?
Alice Ghostly.
Alice Ghostly.
Yeah, she was. I think she was friends with Paul Lynde, but I think she was Mrs. Kravitz. Yeah.
Yeah, she played Grandma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, talk about a face that was just in everything that you saw in every show growing up. Yeah, she was Gladys Kravitz, I think. Right?
Yeah, what's going on over at the Tate house or not
the nosy neighbor?
House. Yeah.
Yeah, so I never saw that, but the thing Fester is like kind of a key as well. Like,
yeah,
John Astin is like, one of a kind. Like Morticia is a little more interchangeable. You can get it if you get the right tone. Fester's larger than life, so he has to be off the wall. And so Christopher Lloyd, grabbed on with both hands. And Raul Julia is bonkers, but he's still not as out there as John Astin in those movies. I don't know what Tim Curry did with this. But the Fester thing is really that's tougher to me because
it's the fulcrum. I think you're right though. It's a little tougher, and I'm sure lots have gotten it wrong. I think immediately after that film, the property became a television show again.
Okay, so now is this the one that's from the late 90s that has a Canadian actress in the lead as Morticia, and then the guy that's playing Gomez actually kind of looks a little bit like John Astin.
He does.
He kind of sounded like it too.
Glenn Toronto is his name, but it's not spelled the way you think. It's like with an A.
He actually did the inflection. Like he kind of sounded like John Astin in this show.
He wasn't bad. I mean, the show looked kind of low budget, and I can't remember. Oh yeah, Ellie Harvey. I must have seen her before, but I really didn't pay much attention to this show. I think it was on before or after something I did enjoy, so I would run into it.
And it was like syndication, but it was like, I think 1 season is what it got.
Actually, it says here it got 2 seasons.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, wait, 1 season, 2 years. Oh, okay. Sorry. No, I'm mistaken. It got 1 season, but it's 65 episodes.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's just a syndicated show.
You don't get that.
No. That's that might have been a syndicated package. Maybe it was done to shore up the original Addams Family, and then you could do a syndication deal of 100 episodes. I don't know.
Well, there might be some relation between the straight to video movie and the show.
Yeah, this was filmed in Canada too. Yeah, it's Saban. You're right. Saban's involved in this show.
So there you go. So they tried to launch, but I don't know why they switched casts. I don't know why.
Well, that's a lot cheaper for a TV show.
Yes.
Yeah. How much does Tim Curry cost in 1999? Like,
right.
He was doing some pretty cool things.
Still living on the shadow money.
Sweet shadow money.
Congo. So that series, and then is there another live action series or another cartoon?
I'm just trying to think. I think I remember something about my daughter considers those movies childhood. So I think the fact that those movies kept the brand alive quite significantly, that's why they still have relevance today.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right, because there's nothing else like them. I mean, they were 2 big budget, big Hollywood movies. I think the first one cost like $60 million or something, which was, it's a pretty big budget for what it was.
Yeah.
But I think it made like $300 million or something. It was freaking huge. I don't know why the second one didn't do nearly as well. I don't know.
I think because there had been a slew of those kind of TV movies in between, and most of them were disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the odd, people start going, oh, those are all bad. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's weird, but you're right. They are kind of, they've been perennials with, DVD releases and, 2 for 1 on a DVD kind of thing. But I think
that's the thing that made me interested in saying that, because I don't own either film, and my daughter's seen them like a dozen times.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's like it for a lot of people, that is the Addams Family.
Yes.
It's not the show. It's those movies, and whatever comes after it is emulating the movies. sort of. Now, so did you see the new animated films?
Nope. I'm kind of, I don't need to go see many kids' films these days, and I didn't really have a super interest in it.
Well, I didn't go see them.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't there on opening day. I didn't rent it and get in half price on opening day. I saw them well after they were in the theaters, because the first one I think was during, maybe the second one was COVID. I forget. They're interesting. Again, they're very they're good. They're good. They don't seem to get a lot of love. The first one was huge. I think it did like 200 million or something. Again, like an animated movie that's not Pixar or Disney. It did really well. Oscar Isaac does the voice of Gomez, and Charlize Theron, Morticia. Now, you don't need either of them. That's purely to get people interested because they're fine. I think Chloe Grace Moretz does Wednesday. What's his name? Does Fester? Kroll, Nick Kroll. And he's really good. Like,
yeah.
He's hit or miss for me for the most part, but he's really good as Fester because it's all over the place. But again, very subversive about like the squares, in the suburbs and everything perfect. And then here comes this family that's different. And the second one, the climax of the second one is just batshit insane.
It's bonkers.
Like, it just goes to a level that's, what is happening?
Yeah, you couldn't really do a third one, or at least I don't think so.
Yeah,
now,
like you've got like Wednesday is experiment in the second animated film. She's experimenting with crossbreeding, like taking characteristics of a creature and putting it in a person. She does this experiment with Fester at the beginning with this octopus that she has. That's a pet octopus.
Yeah.
And he keeps changing. He keeps every now and then all of a sudden he'll grow a tentacle, but it's got lines like, Fester, your tentacle's hanging out. And he goes, oh yeah, I felt a draft. It's got lines that are far more adult than they should be. And they're good, but they've got a really interesting design for she's like stick thin and Gomez is more portly and, big eyes.
Yeah, and, like more like the Addams drawings.
Yeah.
We have missed something.
Uh-oh.
And I feel like we absolutely need to talk about this.
All right.
And track it down and find it.
Okay.
From 1973, there was a half an hour special, which means it was a pilot that failed, called The Addams Family Funhouse.
Uh-oh.
And the description on IMDb is the Addams Family hosts a variety show.
What?
Yes. And let's go through who's playing everybody.
Oh my God.
For Gomez Addams, we have Jack Riley, Mr. Carlson from Newhart.
Jack Riley.
Yeah.
The stone face Mr. Carly.
Carlin, yeah.
Mr. Carlin, he's playing Gomez?
Yep.
Okay.
And this one's going to blow your mind. Morticia Addams, Liz Torres.
Liz Torres? Who's Liz Torres?
Oh my goodness, you don't know who Liz Torres is?
Well,
she's been around. She's been around the block.
I only hear her name mentioned every 30, 35 years or so.
She was on the John Larroquette show, which that's where I knew her from, but she's on Gilmore Girls. Yeah, she's on a ton of stuff.
What season of Gilmore Girls?
She's only in 2 episodes. Good Lord, I'm tired.
Liz
she's in a
Torres.
ton.
Okay, who else?
Okay, so that's Liz Torres as Morticia, and she looks kind of cool. I need to see this.
I need to see this now. Like, this is...
Yeah. So as Uncle Fester, we have Stubby K.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get this.
Pugsley is played by Butch Patrick.
What?
So, yeah.
It's a multiverse. It's a crossover.
I have no idea who's playing Wednesday. Noelle Von Sun, and she was in, a Room 222 and this. And we did Butch Patrick. Felix Cilia is playing Cousin It. Charles Fleischer has a credit but no character.
Oh. Maybe
Jim Neighbors is playing Jim Neighbors.
Oh, shit.
Everything is right in the world. And as Lurch, and this one kills me, Pat McCormick.
Oh my God, this is a coke-fueled nightmare.
and Jack Riley and Liz Torres wrote it, so this is some sort of busted pilot.
What the? So wait,
Yeah.
so Jack Torres is the guy who played Mr. Carlin, the stone-faced monotone.
No, Jack Riley.
Jack
Riley. Yeah. He's Gomez.
He wrote it with Liz Torres?
Yes.
I didn't know he was a writer.
Neither did I, and I didn't. I didn't realize Liz Torres goes all the way back to the early 70s like this.
Okay, it's called Addams Family what?
The Addams Family Funhouse.
Oh man, if this is on YouTube, I'm gonna hang up.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
I know what my evening is gonna consist of. I'm trying to find it here. Wow. So it was just a half-hour pilot?
Busted pilot, yeah. And
wow.
I wonder if anything exists. Please be there. Please be there.
Please tell me this is if you can find everything on YouTube, please tell me this.
No, you know what? People have searched for it because the minute I started entering it, it filled itself in, but I do not see it. Oh.
No, I don't think it's here. Someone's got a bootleg of this, or somebody has a link that they're going to post once this goes up.
Yeah, there's just this one sad photo of it.
It almost seems like
Lurch has a mustache.
It almost seems like a made-up entry. Wait, Lurch has a mustache?
Yeah.
It sounds made up. It sounds like a sketch from something, and they pretended it was a show.
It's really something that will task me until I find it. So
wow. Okay, so there's a little slice of weirdness that pops into that history.
Yeah. This has been great.
So then you get the cartoon series, or then you get the Scooby-Doo guest starring thing. You get the series, then you get the 77 show, which I forget what it was called, the Addams Family Halloween or something.
Yeah, Halloween with the Addams Family.
And then and I think that John Astin showed up in the Canadian one. I think
you're right. I think he's like Grandpa.
He's like Grandpa, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. He's still sharp as a tack, that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And father to Samwise Gamgee.
That's right.
So then you get so now we get these two most recent animated films.
Yep.
And now we're getting a series, which by the time this goes up, I don't know when it's going to air in November, on Netflix called Wednesday, which, is about Wednesday Addams. She's the lead, obviously, but it's the Addams Family. So you've got Fred Armisen is playing Fester, and
that's so cool.
Luis Guzman is playing
let's just
Gomez playing Gomez, which is I think is great casting. I think.
Well, let's just show what a great sport he is. They call him and go, "Would you like to play Gomez Addams?" And he looks at the cartoon, and he looks at himself.
So yeah, he's perfect.
Yeah, he's great casting, and I love Luis Guzman.
He's just makes everything
better. Do you
better.
remember the outrage online of why is this Hispanic guy playing Gomez Addams? His name's Gomez.
No, I didn't actually.
I saw some of that and I thought this is ridiculous.
I'm sure it doesn't matter anymore. Like in the last month, some of the titles I'm seeing, some of the headings I'm seeing for YouTube videos. There's a funny Twitter account called New York Times Pitchbot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's these ridiculous made up headlines like, I can't even think of one, but it's like taking something extreme and saying, and that's why I'm going to vote for Biden, or that's why I'm going to vote for Trump again, like something completely insane that doesn't match up with the punchline at the end of the headline. And that's what these videos are like. They're just like, why the Beatles suck, or just something that's just so, why Shakespeare is shit or whatever. Just taking the most extreme thing to click on. And it's with all the shows, of course. And even when the shows are a success, even when the shows clearly are a success, ratings and review wise, they'll get a video like, this is why Amazon's in trouble. Like, because this one show failed so badly. So I didn't see anything about, any roar about, luckily, but I'm lucky to miss a lot of that stuff. But my God, it's with everything. I mean, I think that's inspired casting. Fred Armisen,
I think he's great.
Is great. To be as Fester.
Wonderful.
Too,
yeah.
Because he's gonna do the character. He's gonna take it to that, or I hope he does. But what's interesting is the show is executive produced by Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much he had this thing together, but he was the first choice to direct the motion pictures, the first movie.
But Batman got in the way?
He turned it down. Batman Returns was he was knee deep in that and probably having a breakdown. And he couldn't do it. And so Sonnenfeld, I think it was Sonnenfeld's first directing job, because he'd been DP on a bunch of movies like Racing Arizona and stuff. So I don't know how much of this stuff he's had sitting in a drawer for 30 years or what his involvement is, but it kind of makes sense. It's kind of a perfect, that Tim Burton at some point would play in the Addams Family sort of sandbox.
I'm surprised it took this long. Yeah.
But there's something about it that the whole. I like the subversive nature of the stuff. I like they're I'm trying to word this the right way. It doesn't seem like we're trotting out the old, PC type, accusation. Like, they don't care. Like, there's something about the Addams Family that gives it license to go places that they kind of don't care. The darkness, I don't know. I think we need a little bit more of that, frankly.
Yeah.
I
love those characters, and they obviously resonate with a lot of people. It's my daughter went as Wednesday, I think, when she was 8.
See, I think she's like a perennial Wednesday, like little.
Oh yeah.
I think because she's the kid who's doing her own thing. She's the kid who's not going with the crowd. That's a Wednesday Addams. It's into kind of
exactly
stuff or bugs or whatever. So I hope it's crazy and weird and gross and fun and subversive, because I think we need stuff like that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It makes life a little more flavorful.
And so merchandise wise, because this stuff from you had the big Munster collection, and much more about the classic stuff, but we got, when the show first aired, I don't think it got nearly the merchandise that the Munsters did, right?
I would agree, because I think when you look at it, Universal already had the groundwork with the Universal Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Munsters came out, their licensing people had relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw the same things being added because, Aurora knew model kits would sell. Well, that's a bad example because they did the Addams Family house too. But, it was like a lot of copycat merchandise too. I mean, there's Remco dolls of the Munsters and the Addams Family.
Yes.
I believe there's puppets, if I'm not mistaken.
The cloth puppet with the little rubber head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the Fester light bulb trick was a big collectible.
Oh, you mean just like the bulb on a card or in a box kind of thing?
Yeah, no, it's in a beautiful, I think it's a box.
Oh.
And it's just, it's what it is it's a trick. So that the kids could replicate what Uncle Fester's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but I'm assuming it's a battery.
Well, there
But
was
it's
also
just,
wasn't there a little bank like it was in a box, but like it wasn't it like the coffin with the hand
oh
that
yeah, I
grabs
think,
the coin?
yeah. I'm just trying to think of all the stuff that I've seen over the years, but I don't collect it. You know what it's like. Um, you don't really retain some of the information sometimes.
Yeah, when I think of both those shows and merchandise, I immediately think of the It's a Small World catalog, which once again I can't find. I know it's here somewhere, but I cannot
Oh, there
find
was some neat stuff in that one for
that
the
freaking
Addams Family.
catalog. I think of that catalog, and I think of all the color spreads in Toy Shop that I used to
Hmm.
save, and I still have those somewhere in an envelope. And the Munsters and Addams Family stuff would
I
show up.
just ran into the vintage board game, the Ideal board game, and I got to tell you, it was $70. So it was it's not just a quick purchase, but I was really
Mhm.
tempted. It's glorious.
This is the Addams Family one.
Hmm. It's got a really nice sunset on the box. It's really really well done. Um,
See, because I
and
know
then,
they did the board game, the Remcos, the bank,
mhm.
or that trick or whatever. Um, I
And the
think
Aurora model house, like the Addams Family house
okay, so
got made.
they made a kit of the Addams Family house, the Aurora
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Okay, so that'd be a fun kit to get. Like they must have reissued that at some point, right?
I'm positive they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And
oh
then
yeah,
not
it was released in the '90s by Polar Lights.
Polar Lights. If anyone's
Yeah.
going to release it, it's Polar Lights. And then we get nothing, and we get nothing for the movie, and we get nothing for the second movie. We get the animated series in '92.
Yeah.
Um, and then Mezco did a set of figures for the new animated films. They're
Oh, I forgot about those.
they're 5 points line, but they're ridiculously expensive.
Oh yeah, and Funko
It,
did Pops.
like $60 a set of two figures, or like $80 a set of two, or something. It's like 4-inch 5 points. I don't need them that badly. But they're
Oh, and do
nice.
you remember the Ken and Barbie set?
No.
Oh yeah, in 2000 they did a Ken and Barbie Morticia and Gomez.
Oh, that's fun.
It really is. It's a nice set.
Oh, that's great. It's surprising because they are, you know, I did a video recently that's going to be up soon of the I did 10 most needed action figure lines, and then I thought, well, I'll do it again, 10 more. And I put Addams Family in there because we never
Hmm.
got for the original series. And really
Yeah,
didn't get
I would love to see some Mego scale Addams Family.
yeah, they'd be perfect. Shit, do a play set, do a house, play. I mean, no, but the old school cardboard, with the
Oh,
with
I see. Yeah, the
clear
vinyl. Yeah,
vinyl. Yeah, do a little
that'd
house
be kind of fun.
like the Wizard of Oz Emerald Forest. What's it called? Yeah, the Emerald City.
Emerald City, yeah, with the
Emerald
yellow
City.
brick road. Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
that'd be kind of fun, actually.
Yeah,
I do
Miko.
wonder if the likeness rights are available to everybody, or if you have to use cartoon characters.
That's a good question. I know that I saw something. You said Funko did Pops.
Yeah,
Well, you know those ones that like come in a can.
yeah, they did. They did one that looks a bit like John Aston, the
Yeah,
vinyl soda, right? Yeah,
yeah. I saw that and I thought, oh, that's definitely John Aston.
yeah,
John
yeah.
Aston
I
or
saw
John
that
Adams?
too.
Did you say John Adams again?
John Aston,
John Aston. Jesus, who the hell's John? Why am I thinking of John Adams?
John Quincy Adams,
Was John Quincy Adams in the Addams Family? That would make a lot of sense.
somewhere.
Yeah, we need more Addams Family toys and more subversion, I think. When you think about the Thing, like I don't know if Thing was in the cartoon. Was it in like the was
I
it the
think Thing was I'm not sure. I thought Thing was created for the TV series because, if I'm not mistaken, there was a lawsuit launched from, I think, the television production company to the producers of the new film, because the producers of the new film said they did not use the television series, they used the Charles Addams characters. And the TV series fired back with, well, except you used Thing, and we named the characters.
oh
Like, so that they didn't have names before the television series.
oh oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot that. That's very much like Return of the Living Dead. Before Return of the Living Dead, zombies eating brains was not a thing.
Oh, you mean Night of the Living Dead?
No. The one from '84.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. They ate people, but the whole brains, that whole thing.
Yeah, and it just worked.
That started with the '84 movie, and it's been in every zombie movie since, or most, where they go after the brain kind of thing.
A lot of it, yeah. That's really funny.
I forgot that they weren't named in the script. Oh, that's a really interesting licensing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how that was settled or anything like that, but
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by these little things.
Yeah, because even if the look changes, you've taken all the names from the TV show.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Thing
so
was not in the comic. What do we call it? Because it was just a one panel thing like The Far Side, right? Isn't that what it was?
It was. You'd call it a comic strip, I guess.
Okay,
but it was
so
a comic panel, really.
So Thing wasn't in that.
Not that I know of. No, I mean I might be wrong, but I thought that was created for the series. And it was Ted Cassidy.
Oh, was it Ted Cassidy in the show?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know the guy that did it for the movies was a magician, or maybe still alive, because he was, they auditioned hands, I guess, or who could do stuff with their hands best. But it's weird enough in the show, but it's really disturbing in the two movies because it's a disembodied hand. Like it's got, a flat wrist, the flat cutoff point is just flat, and it's just
I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
Because it disturbed you? Or
too much nonsense. No, I hated the Thing in the movies. I think he was one of the things I really didn't like.
Interesting.
I don't know what that says about me.
Yeah,
I can't tell you.
You're like a Thing purist.
We're talking about 31 years ago, and being 20 years old, and then I'm the height of my cynicism. I can't remember, but
you like your things just to stay in their boxes and to not.
I just wanted to bring up an Addams Family clone from. Do you remember the Flintstones, Weirdly and Creepella?
Do I remember the
Gruesomes? I think the Gruesomes, the neighbors. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that kind of.
Yeah, and that was definitely inspired by the Addams Family.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean there were stuff. Wasn't there another family or something? Not the Groovy Ghoulies, but I mean the Groovy Ghoulies is a ripoff of Universal Monsters, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I thought there was another family that was weird. Maybe
weird family?
Maybe I was thinking of a Sid and Marty Krofft thing or something.
I don't know. I know something comparable to the Addams Family. I'm sure.
Yeah,
we're missing a couple of really obvious ripoffs.
Yeah, but it's got that there's something about it that I think that some of the vibe has bled into a lot of things like, Buffy or Sabrina the Teenage Witch or whatever, these oddballs that are, living a secret, a different kind of life that don't really mix that much. Just there's something like, keep using the word subversive about the Addams stuff. And it changed as it went along, where, you get the movies and the two animated movies where when they see everything pink and bright bows and puppies, they're freaked out by it. You didn't really have that in the show. So that kind of grew as it went. But,
I know what you're saying. Yeah, they didn't tend to be repulsed.
Yeah. And then in the new animated ones too, you get the because you never saw Kitty. It was the lion that they had was called Kitty. Or maybe you did see it in the show. Did you see like long shots of it? The lion walking around the yard.
Oh yeah, I remember the lion. Yeah.
Which I don't think was in the movies, but it's in the new animated movies.
Oh, okay.
A giant cartoon lion than not.
I forgot about the lion. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Munsters had Spot,
Yeah.
which is
Spot. Yeah.
a dragon.
I think he was a dragon. Yeah. Fire breathing.
Never
dragon.
understood. What's that got to do with all the monsters? Why is a dragon in there?
I guess because you need a pet,
Yeah, but why not be? I don't know.
a wolf. I don't know.
I don't know. Just dragon never added up to me. I think they were running out of ideas at that point. Maybe.
I thought he was there from the start.
So there you go. Addams Family.
Addams Family.
Better than the Munsters? You decide. Monsters better? It's up to you. No one's
I don't
wrong.
know. I don't know, man. This is like saying, which pizza is better. This one or this one. As long as either choice isn't Hawaiian, you can say no. They're both really good.
There's something about them that has just a slightly different. You said it perfectly at the top of this about.
Oh yeah.
The Munsters being much more broad.
Mm-hmm.
Much more Herman.
I'm not saying that's as a bad thing. It's leaning into its strength, and the same. But the Addams Family is going they're just taking a different path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A more intellectual path.
Perhaps.
So if
that doesn't really pan out when you're making television.
So clearly, if you love Addams Family more, you're more of an intellectual, like me.
Oh yes, yeah.
So it makes sense.
You're the alpha male.
Too. Yeah. Oh yeah, always have been.
Yeah.
I love that what we gathered from this whole thing was that what turned you off of the Addams Family movies.
There's more things.
Thing was a disembodied hand.
No, that was not helping.
That could crawl around and didn't have a wrist. That put you over the edge.
Well, and also Dan Hayeda.
How can you not? Who doesn't like Dan Hedaya? Who doesn't like him? He's a one of a kind. He's a legend. How could you not like him?
He looks like he needs to be dry cleaned.
He does. That's his appeal. That's his appeal. He's got that market cornered. He was in. Did you ever see Blood Simple? The first.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, you should. It's a great. It's an amazing debut. But it's a very film noir. 90. Shit, was it 1990 or 89? 90?
I think it was 89.
I
remember the commercials.
I think it's Frances McDormand's first movie. M. Emmett Walsh and Dan Hedaya.
Blood Simple is from 1984.
No, don't say that.
Yep.
You're right. Of course it is.
Yeah.
84, because fuck. So that's 84. Raising Arizona is 86. 87. Miller's Crossing is 90. That's their third film. Jesus. Yeah, I meant 84. That's depressing.
That's why I didn't see it, because at 84.
You were knee deep in the ladies.
In a way. I just gotten a VCR, so it was like, I was overwhelmed with the stuff I wanted to see.
Right.
So
all the video, you were catching up on all the video nasties, basically.
All the video. I caught a lot of those. Yeah.
You were deep diving on those.
Well, I don't think I've probably told you this before, but the video store closest to my house, the guy had to be a fan of exploitation movies.
Because he had
every infamous, the incredibly strange creatures that stopped living became mixed up zombies, just all these crazy movies, and I thoroughly enjoyed that store.
Do you know, I got because you went to a monster thing recently, and I went to Son of Monster Palooza a few weeks back, and both Vinegar Syndrome and Severin had tables there.
Of course, yeah.
And I'll tell you something, Severin's hit or miss, but and so is Vinegar Syndrome, no doubt, especially with the choices. But the packaging, the Vinegar Syndrome packaging is fantastic, like almost across the board. And did you see a film called Censor? Came out a year or two ago?
No, I didn't.
Censor. It's a British film, first time writer directors and stuff. And
I heard about it.
Takes place right around 80, 81 during the video nasty thing, where the lead character is censoring, cuts of movies to be released theatrically or on video, whatever. And then something gets weird from there. But in addition to, it's pretty good, but it's got loads of extras on the DVD. And one of them is like a 90-minute documentary about the video nasties.
Oh, wow.
They've got footage in there of like people being arrested. The cops
Oh, yeah.
going into video stores and arresting these guys and walking them out in cuffs because they've got a copy of Cannibal Holocaust or I Spit on Your Grave or whatever under the desk or something. It was like a Monty Python sketch.
Mm-hmm.
They were really arresting people for this stuff, and there was no real. I don't think it was ever like made illegal, was it? Was it made illegal, that stuff?
I've watched a couple documentaries on that, and I think they were kind of banned. I don't know what that constitutes in British law, though. The people who wanted to see it could see it easily.
Right. They found a way to see it, and who's one of the people leading the charge even then? Mary frickin' Whitehouse. She made a whole life out of.
What? I'm a kid who lived in Canada. She never affected anything in my life, but I knew about her when I was like 11.
Yeah. Because of Doctor Who magazine, because we knew how she was always going after Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pythons did a sketch about all these, pepper pot women in glasses and beehive type hairdos, protesting outside the BBC about filth. She was doing it in the 60s too.
Oh, it was in a Benny Hill once too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they did a role reversal Benny Hill where the guys are dancing and the girls are watching, and there's a voiceover that says Harry Whitehouse says this show is horrible.
She had a lot of power for. And then, of course, they ask her
an old biddy who doesn't mind her business.
Well, it's also like, well, have you seen these films? She says, no, of course not. She never saw any of it. It just was, filthy by title. But interesting stuff. Yeah. So there you go. Maybe someone should make an exploitation Addams Family project. See how that goes. But it's
There's
funny
a lot of potential there.
It does have a family appeal. It's a very it's a strange property. It's endured for a long time, but every generation seems to get it in some way, or discovers those movies, or somebody turns their kids on to the TV show or something. They're just kind of, and when
there's something appealing to confident oddballs.
Yeah.
None of these people are losers. Pugsley maybe a little.
Pugsley.
But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they're just happy, confident, weird people.
They're happy. That's another thing. Yeah. They're always happy.
Yeah.
For the most part, the Munsters are too.
Oh yeah, they're a very comfortable family.
Yeah. And there you go. So there's our happy family to your happy families, talking about 2 Monster Family royalty shows, and there's our 2 episodes for October 2022.
Yeah. Happy Halloween, everybody, and hope you join us in the Pod Stallions Facebook group.
Yes, please do, and be sure to go over and why don't you have a gander at Plastic Soul on YouTube. It's a terrific show. It's gotten 3 Webbies already. Brian Heiler has endorsed every episode.
And made the Webbies.
We're about to hit 1 million subscribers, but I could use your subscriptions, please. No, none of that's true. So get over there and subscribe to the show.
No, he could use. You do want people to subscribe to you.
I want everyone
that part is true.
I want everyone listening to stop what you're doing, pull the car over, go, get off the toilet. However you're listening to this, go to See Plastic Soul, YouTube, Entertainment Earth channel, and subscribe because your life might depend on it.
Yep.
Or mine might.
And be sure to leave a comment. Say hi.
Yeah, because I'll say hi back. And we'll do this again real soon in November.
Yep, absolutely. And I've got some doozies of ideas.
Oh, good. Yeah, we're gonna do some more audio commentary too. We got to do that stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to get back into that because that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, man. All right. Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Be safe.
All right. All right, man. I'm gonna go watch Halloween.
All right, go to it. Thanks, man. Thanks for
Cheers.
doing it.
Take
Okay,
care. No worries. Feel better.
thanks, buddy. Bye.
See ya. Bye.